Welcome to the AR-15 podcast. This show is for you if you just bought your first rifle or you've been building them for years. There's something we can all do to take our black rifles to the next level. My name is Nick Dooley. I am joined tonight by our director of propaganda, Joe.
Howdy, howdy, everybody.
So everybody out there, I hope you all are having as wonderful of evening as we are and day. I am currently enjoying the air conditioning because that is proof that God loves men and wants us to be happy. And it would be better if I had it in working properly in all of my vehicles. But
yeah, no air conditioning for 4 hours of a 6-hour round trip was not a fun day.
No, that especially when it's like 106 degrees out.
Mm-hmm.
And Dirt Racer 412 comments, still no Garth. And it's not that he is not around. He is in the middle of harvest, so he said he would not be able to make it this evening.
Oddly enough, he could get the deadwood for a rodeo last night, but can't make the show tonight.
No. But no, Joe, I know that we have a lot of stuff to get into, especially when we get into what you did with guns. But before we get to that, we should do Thirsty Thursdays.
What are we drinking?
Yeah, talk about what we're drinking tonight.
So tonight, I've got my bottle of my Nashville barrel, South Dakota pick. It's a 12 or an 8-year, 118.6 proof pick that our Facebook state Facebook group did, and I managed to score one of those bottles, and that stuff is again one of the delicious ones, especially for a higher proof. It doesn't drink that hot. I really enjoy it. I'm really looking forward to when I crack open I think it's a 12-year bottle of rye that we got from them as well, but I haven't cracked that yet. So no, tonight it's the just the whiskey.
And tonight, for anyone who cares, I am in the Horse Soldier small batch, and this is the barrel strength. So this is a 117 proof signed bottle, and it is a delightful whiskey. It's again, another high proof, but pretty soft drinking. I think I rather like it.
If you don't like hot whiskey, you should just go away.
Get that good Kentucky hug.
Yeah, some good steak or something like that. That's got a nice little kiss on the way down.
Oh, so yep. So that was Thirsty Thursdays, and our commentary of what we're drinking this week, which I think could be the only way we can describe that. And it's as we go through here, so we can go into what we did with guns. Do you want to start, or do you want me to? Because I know we both did stuff with guns this weekend.
Why don't you go ahead? Because I think I can go a little longer.
Yeah, mine was pretty standard for me. I went and about an hour and a half north of us, I went and taught a class, and I had a nice about 10 people came, and just a solid little enhanced concealed carry class. Got to work with one student who was an older gal and had only ever shot revolvers before and was trying to move into semi-autos and was trying to find the right gun for her to shoot as she was shooting some of her son's pistols, and had picked a couple up and was like, okay, well, I'm going to try it. And it's one of those things where you and I have dealt with this before, but it's always kind of humorous when we go or when it happens like in a class or something. But I looked at her because I watched where she was shooting and hitting, and I was like, So I stepped back and looked at her head, and as she pulled up to fire, she cocked her head over, and I went, hey, has anybody ever checked you for eye dominance? She goes, oh no, I've been hunting my whole life. I said, yeah, has anyone ever checked you for eye dominance? And she's like, well, no, how do you do that? And I said, all right, just real quick, push your thumb out. Like there's a spot on the target there and look at it with both eyes, and look at your thumb and then close one eye and then close the other, and which one moves more. And she's like, oh, when I close my left eye, it moves way over. It's like, okay, now open them up. Is that like, so, now close your right eye and just keep your left eye. Yeah, it stayed in the same spot. Okay, well, you're left eye dominant. No, I'm not. And it was yes, ma'am, you are. No, I've been shooting scoped rifles for years, and I always shoot right-handed, not left-handed. I understand that, but it's working through that where you go. No, I think your problem is doing
Cool.
this.
Look at them like, cool. So yeah, you're not, but you should try shooting with the other eye and see what happens.
Well, then I just was like, okay, well, I'm going to change how you just change your body position a little bit. So everything lined up with the eye she was supposed to be using, she should be using. And suddenly she could see the sights and was hitting targets. And I was like, oh, hey, look at that. Good for you.
See, if you shoot with both eyes open, you don't have to worry about which eye is dominant.
This is true.
That's a little more advanced than just a carry course. So
also, it is always fun to teach people with multifocal glasses.
I bet.
Because they're
where's it?
It's like, all right, we're head bobbing over here. No, so I went up, did that, had a good day training. Then if anybody looks at our Instagram, you saw that we shot a match, or Garth and I shot a local match on Sunday. And in part with that, my daughter took her, rifle and went out and shot 22 pistol as well. And just was shooting the rifle with the 22 conversion kit in it. And that rifle really turns heads when it's on the range because of the dragon skull muzzle device it has. Thank you, Dirt Racer. And we're still running that. And yeah, she was out, running stages and running that rifle and getting with it to kind of learn how to effectively use a rifle. We got done and she we had one more and I was like, all right, well, hey, let's she wanted to try my PCC. So I put her on that and she ran the course in she ran the course in 30 seconds. She's like, I was only 15 seconds slower than Dad. And for her first time shooting a PCC, running that course of fire in 30 seconds was actually, not bad. So she definitely is starting to figure it out. And now apparently I have to build another PCC or pull my Beretta Storm out of storage or deep storage and let her shoot that. But here real quick, as we say this, I see Bolt 308 from YouTube put in big news for California. We're able to get ammo shipped at home with no special licenses now. So that is exciting for everyone out there in occupied territory.
The court struck down that ammo license ban or background check or whatever it was on ammo, and it's just a sign of good things. We're getting those court cases to go our way. So
yes indeed. Now, Joe, you had a little bit more in-depth of things that you did.
Yeah. So, well, before I get into the big stuff, I'm the guy that bought a knockoff ACOG and put it on my 1522 just so I can have a trainer rifle to go shoot from different positions in EIC. I put it on earlier this week. I haven't had a chance to get to the range and sight it in and see how it actually works, but I think it will serve the purpose that it needs. But yeah, this weekend I was out in Casper, Wyoming for the Wyoming Governor's Cup sponsored by Vortex. It's a big level 2 USPSA match, 2 days at the Ghost Town Shooters puts it on. I can't remember the name of the range, but it's a pretty nice range. They got quite a few different bays that were open. No prize table, random draw when you check in. Fortunately, I just want a gift certificate for like $50 off of a holster. So nothing cool on that end. There's some people I know that were winning optics and ammo, but it was a lot of fun, a lot of challenging courses. There was only 3 that were under 40 rounds. Everything else was a long course. A lot of movement, moving positions. In fashion for me, somebody that likes competition but gets a little nervous yet, especially when you're at those places, because you don't want to go home early for doing something stupid that you know better than. Very first stage, I didn't shoot 2 targets. I think it was 2 targets that I left. Completely missed the one when I was moving down the line. Moved up to the second one, and there was 2 paper and a steel. The steel activated swingers, and for some reason I was going to shoot the paper, and I'm like, no, shoot the activator first, then shoot them so that it slows down. And I never went back to the first target that I had lined up on. So started my day with a measly like 2.5 hit factor, and calmed down after that. Got into my rhythm, had some really, really, I thought really, really good stages, running 4.5, 5, 6 hit factors, paying attention to the B shooter, PCC shooter in my squad, kind of watching his stage planning, talking with him, seeing how he's running stuff. And I was, for the most part, running right there with him. And then, so yeah, the first day I was sitting pretty deep, okay, had a good day. Then the second day, again, we had the 3 short stages, but it was a lot. It was hot. It was getting hot. It was getting windy. The amount of reshoots we had, because the steel, like the wind was coming right at our backs, straight at our backs. So the steel would fall down, get blown down, send the activator, so we'd have to stop the shooter, and then they'd reset them, and then the next guy would go up and shoot, and he wouldn't be able to knock down the target, wouldn't be able to knock down the steel, so they'd call for calibration. RO or whoever it was that was doing the calibration hit the target or hit the steel, it stands there, so they get a reshoot. So it took forever. It did have an interesting stage 12. It was all loading had to come from they had like an old time. I'm pretty sure the stage is set up originally for like cowboy action shooting, and they've got different windows you shoot through, and then they had a wall and a door that all of your loading had to be pre-staged, so you couldn't have mags on your belt. Well, I'm running a 60 round PCC mag, and I staged 2 just in case I'd have a malfunction and have to drop my mag, and I could grab from the table rather than the dirt. But I was running it, got done, and as soon as I got done, realized I forgot to take a target to the left of the door, and then the lady that was doing the scoring called out a foot fault, and I'm like, "Are you serious?" And I can just like feel all right, I'm not gonna have a chance at anything now, screwing up a second stage. And I asked the guys that were watching me, and I'm like, "So where did I foot fault?" And they're like, "She's giving you the one over there, but pretty sure you were faulted the whole time you were shooting through the door." I'm like, God. All right. So then all of a sudden the whole thing gets quiet. Everybody's quiet. And I'm like, and they're not going to any more of those targets. I'm like, what's going on? And she's like, you reshoot. And I'm like, huh? It's like, yeah, they started pasting targets before we scored them, so you get to reshoot it. And I'm like, okay.
Yay!
So, like, this Okay. So then I run it again. I made one change on where I took a couple targets from, took them straight on instead of from the door. Made sure that when I got to the door, I was not over the fault line. Made sure the first thing I did was shoot that target that I forgot. Shot the activator, put 2 on the on each of the bobbers, moved off, and cut the angle correct this time so I didn't fault again. And I'm like, all right, that felt good. Looking at the scorecard, because you can see the correction from the reshoot, I did shoot it like a second and a half, 2 seconds slower. But as I start walking the line or walking the targets with the RO, and he's like, and they start calling out alphas, double alpha, double alpha, double alpha. I'm like, well, that's pretty good. And I'm like, so we've got all the close targets are all perfect. There's one target that had a steel and then a silhouette or a tuxedo paper. And there was one guy that would run out and check that. And he's like, yep, double alpha. And I'm like, all right, just got the 2 bobbers where I'm hoping to have 2 Charlies or like alpha Charlie. And get up there and they're like alpha. So my reshoot, I shot 45 alphas. And I was like, holy crap, that was a lot considering if I wouldn't have had the reshoot, it would have been abysmal. So
it was well worth the price of admission for the reshoot.
Yeah. So I told the guy that did it. He's like, God, I feel so bad. And I'm like, I don't. If I ever run into you anywhere else, I'm buying you a beer or 2 because. I mean, it's not like it mattered. It's not like I think I was 20th out of 40, like right in the middle. But just feel a lot more comfortable than I did when I went to the sectional in Canton back in May. And I mean, and it's really hard to say how I shot because there's 3 grandmasters shooting PC in the competition. So, I mean, they're going to smoke me no matter what. So I was at like 50% of what, how USPA say or how they score stuff. I was 50% on them ish. But I felt I was looking at for a more difficult set of stages and arrays. I was happy with my hit factors and where it ended up. I would love to see how the guys that, like I said, smoked me, like if they had a different stage plan, if it was just them, if it was me taking too much time to make sure I was on alphas rather than just sending them. I only had 3 no shoots on the day or on the weekend, and all of them were alpha no shoots where I split the perf with the round, so it counted twice really. Once as a no shoot, once as the alpha. So, and them were all because I was aiming. I mean, hit was low, and I knew that. I had told myself going into the weekend from practice last week that you got to make sure you're aiming a little bit higher, especially on those closer targets with the mechanical offsets. But no, I had made that switch to the Vortex Huey from my Prism, and I really liked it. I definitely think shooting both eyes open with that thing so much better than what I'd been doing trying to work that Prism and the bigger field of view it was really nice, especially like for the most part, if I can line up the edge of the circle of that reticle on the edges of the paper, it's a dead hit. So
You're loving the holographic.
Yeah, it was a great shoot. If you're in the area or you want to travel to a match, that Wyoming Governor's Cup, it's only a level 2. It's not a national match or anything like that. It's not a sectional. It's not a regional. It's just they put on a big match, and it's a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. Looking forward to going back next year, hoping a chance to improve. Right now, my focus is going to switch here for the next week or 2 to EIC match for the guard, and then flip right back into PCC to go to the Minnesota sectional in mid August, and then the area 3 and at the end of September. So I'm burning through ammo like it's gas because it doesn't take much to put a couple hundred rounds down range in a practice session and then go to a match and spend 400 450 with a reshoot. So it's a lot of fun. If you don't shoot competition, I highly recommend it, especially if you're a competitive person. Just go find a local match, show up once, watch them, talk to people, and then see what you need and go out. They're fun. Everybody's helpful. I was in a great squad. Everybody's helpful. Everybody was fun to talk to. The ROs out there were great. So my wife went with. We were able to go do a little bit in Casper after the morning stages on Saturday. They actually had was it outdoor and gun expo, I think they called it, where they had a bunch of businesses, companies from Wyoming that were gun manufacturers, optics manufacturers, that sort of thing. So I walked around there for a little bit and talked to a few guys there. It was pretty interesting, but nothing too crazy. So, but yeah, it was a good time. It's a lot more fun when you go with, we go with people, like when we went to Zombies, but I've also learned to grow up and just go make friends, and it's a good time. I love, and I've said it between you, me, and Garth, like I don't care what, my local matches is whatever. I don't need to be the biggest fish in a puddle, when you can just go be a fish in that huge sea of competition with great shooters. You get to see how other people set stuff up, how other people run stuff or approach different target arrays, and it's a lot of fun.
There's a lot of value added in that too, just because it's, I know the joke has been made, like, when are you going to train for this? At the match. Like, there's, I've seen that happen where, like, those things happen where you're doing the practice and stuff like that. But
well, you can't mimic stress without putting yourself in stressful situations. You can't. It's one of the things I've always struggled with in the National Guard, when people would get so hyped up about, hey, we're going to go do this lane. And it's like, no, yes, bad things can happen if something like catastrophically goes wrong, but this is a training exercise. They're going to stop us before it's, should stop us before it's catastrophic. And I've always struggled to get into that mentality. And even, like, again, I'm a competitive person. So going out, watching YouTube videos, looking up different people on YouTube to see how they're training, how they're doing different things, and then going out and training it. Because if your reason to own a firearm or anything like that is for self-defense or your own livelihood, just going and shooting off a bench without your blood pressure going up or your heart rate racing, it's different. And that's, you get that when you put yourself on a competitive stage, is, okay, one, you're nervous because you don't want to DQ yourself. You don't want to drop $300 on a stage or on a match fee and DQ yourself on the first stage. I mean, it's not what you want to do. You also don't want to get through 12 stages and DQ yourself on the last stage, because you don't want to DQ at all, but you have that stress, you have that, I want to go fast, I want to do good. So you have that nervousness there, that anxiety there. Plus, once you start moving and your heartbeat starts spiking, it puts you in a more realistic, paper doesn't shoot back, but you got to get that heartbeat up.
Here, Sub-Average Savage says, we shoot a local that's based on older IDPA and police quals. It's pretty cool just for shooting on a timer, if nothing else.
Mm-hmm.
And a timer does add a little bit of stress inoculation. Like, I'll admit that. I know that, like, when you and I go to the range to practice, we'll do a lot of stuff for time and see where things are at. When I'm doing classes, a lot of times I won't run a timer, but it's because I want people to focus on fundamentals, not going fast for most classes. Because if I'm teaching like a carbine 1 or something like that, when we were teaching that class, I don't want people to get focused on, I need to go fast, so they make mistakes. I need people to focus on, hey, I'm going to do this right so I can really get a grip on this. Much like a VZ grip, and the unique features of VZ grips is they're machined from a solid block of G10. And G10 is great because it's durable and doesn't get slippery when covered with mud, blood, or sweat. 17-degree grip angle and wide variety of textures from mild to extreme, as well as color options and shorty versions are also available. 1911 grips with extreme customizability, standard slim palm throw, sun notches, safety cuts, bottom profiles, and more. More than 25 textures and 27 colors are available. There's one coupon code that is good for 15% off all handgun and rifle grips, and that code is AR-15 podcast. And Dr. Scary Guy says drank. And but no, you mentioned something there that I think we should come back and kind of double tap on. We've mentioned it before, and it's something that I think a lot of people start there and then don't use it. But the value of like YouTube and online training.
Yeah, you can buy the books. Ben Stegger's got 3 or 4 different books on dry fire, on fundamentals, on pistol or on rifle dynamics, I think it is. They're awesome. But the cool thing about YouTube, you can look up Hunter Constantine and see how he's training, what he is, doing here, from time to time, or anybody. I mean, there's so many people that will, what do I want to say? Basically, a diary of here's my my path from a new shooter or somebody they've only shot production or they've only shot one class, jumping into a new class and saying here's what I'm gonna do to get to Grandmaster or Master. There's such a plethora of information out there, whether, like you said, if it's YouTube, every training company that I know of has an Instagram, and they will talk about here and there. They'll talk about different things that they do. Paul Dugan out of Connect Fundamentals in Iowa. He is always showing what his range days are. I think it's JBS training. He'll go into like, this is what I train and why. Every once in a while, like to them, yeah, they're giving away, but it's also like drawing people to them and to get people to go to their classes.
Well, so like I'll say this from the aspect of like looking around and being a guy who owns a training company and stuff like that. I find huge value in it, and I've never been bashful to admit that. Like, I'm not going to say formal training, because it's like, oh yeah, you were in the Army and we got all that. But when we went through and I started watching, like, it's like I got my first AR and I was looking for like, okay, I know I want to shoot, like competition stuff, but I'd never been to a competition. I wanted to do a bunch of this stuff, but I'll be honest, I didn't know what to do. Like, when we went to guards, it was, what do? We zero, and then we shoot the qual.
Yeah, it's a static. It's you don't do anything, and it's so painful because you're in that military mindset and getting yelled at, and and I agree. Like trying to figure out what do I do, what do I do to get better.
Like I remember picking up the Magpul DVDs, the Art of the Dynamic Carbine, and I went through and flipped them on because I totally don't have a pirated version of those on my computer, and flipped them on a while ago where, like, yes, some of the tactics are dated, and some of the gear is and stuff like that, but it still has value and there's still good drills to run. It's just a matter of like, okay, yep, like this isn't all the same, but it doesn't matter because it comes back to a reload is a reload. And they talk about how to reload more effectively. And it's Dr. Scary Guy's going, Costa.
Yeah. There's there's so much to be said about, and where I was going was, we live in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Without, like, yes, you have a training company, but who are we on the training side to anybody else? Yeah, we can do some cool stuff, local introductory stuff, but nobody's coming up here. Modern Samurai, JBS, they're not coming up here unless somebody's throwing out a lot of money. And most people don't have the money to, I mean, you're going to do a class, they're going to say bring 500 to 1,000 rounds. That's going to be a couple hundred to a few $100s. It's going to be a few $100s to get into the class. If you have to travel to it, I mean, you're looking at a $1,500 weekend. Not everybody can afford that, but you can go to the forums, the internet forums, Brian Eno's forum, the just any competitive shooting forum, or go to just search, USPSA match or USPSA training on YouTube, and you're going to find 100 people, and they're all going to have a different idea. And everything goes back to everything I've ever done, no matter what I've trained for. It's train the fundamentals first and foremost, and every training session should have some sort of fundamentals training. And then it's really up to you what fits your style and what you're trying to accomplish on who you follow and what you do. There is no right answer. There's no wrong way to do it. It's what works for you. There's certain people can't stand certain trainers and other people love them, and it's all personal preference.
Yeah. And like, I know that I've been through this a lot with like training and talking to other instructors, and training can sometimes, depending on the type of class, can be hard because there are people who come for entertainment value more so than to learn.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have to kind of balance a little bit of that stuff out. Like on the training side, I will fully admit. And even if you're looking for not just like competition training, like I know this has been a very competition focused episode because it's present in Joe's mind because he's in full comp mode. Like if you're looking at doing just like basic tactical training to, like, hey, I'd like to learn how to, run my gun so I can defend my house.
Well, it all starts at the same spot. And that's where back to what I just said about it. You still need all them fundamentals, whether you're shooting competition, whether you're self-defense, you still need to have that. And then it branches off to, wherever you're going to go. So,
100%. And it's the other part of that is some of it is, like when you're watching stuff online, you kind of get an idea how to set things up. Mm-hmm. And I say that as like, oh, hey, like generally you're not born just like, I know how to set up my mags and my, on my belt, or how to run all this stuff. And, where do I put this? Which direction do I point my mags? And some of that and that stuff that like, yeah, I got my start in a lot of that training. I got from the internet, and I do believe there's value added to the internet, just like there's value added to custom kydex. And if you're in need of a reliable custom kydex holster, Clucker Tactical is your one-stop shop. Using premium USA source material, Clucker Tactical will build you a holster in a variety of styles and colors, along with light and laser options. Whether you're in law enforcement, a competitive shooter, or an everyday gun enthusiast, trust that Clucker Tactical will provide every firearm owner has access to top-tier and personalized holsters, as well as quality custom products you can't find anywhere else. Use code AR-15 podcast for 10% off at cluckertactical.com. But no, it's going through it. It's doing some of that stuff with like I said, just which direction you're pointing mags, and
or where to put a dump pouch. Like we saw that at a school. Like there's people that had to redo their entire kits because they just put stuff up. They weren't doing stuff like all in one motion. It was always stop. All right, do this, so they could use their hands, move stuff around, and then put it back in. And it gives you a real world experience. And it's, I don't know. I think competition is good for people. I think training is a must no matter what, even if it is just taking a fundamentals class every couple of years. Like, you don't have to go to full on a USPSA Grandmaster class to learn how to shoot. You don't have to go to a full CBQ course to learn how to shoot. You can just do that simple fundamental stuff every couple of years, and you're gonna learn stuff. You're going to realize maybe you were doing something wrong, or maybe this instructor is going to do it different than the last one, and you like that more.
Well, I've always said that, like, I enjoy taking like the high intensity, like super go fast cool guy classes, but I almost enjoy just a basic fundamentals class even more.
Mm-hmm. Where
Like
you're not under all that stress. You're just like, I need to slow back down and just see if I'm still doing everything correctly. Have I trained sloppiness? Have I trained errors into my routine because I wasn't paying attention?
Yeah, it's having the like the training scars that exist. I know that I have a bunch of training scars because I've had all kinds of stuff happen. And
I thought it was because your freaking hands were too big and the slide kept hitting it.
I mean that too. I have training scars from that, and then I also have training scars from doing things because when I learned how to do CQB tactics, I can honestly say this now, over 20 years ago, was when I first started doing some of that stuff. Like tactics have changed a lot. And we gear has changed a lot. It's allowed us to do more and better things. And
it's not even good.
I was gonna say, and a lot of that stuff, like, yeah, I know it just because it's we always say that you revert back to your lowest form of training, and like that's where I cut my teeth. So it's what I kind of fall back to because it's the core memory, if you will. And yeah, as Klecker Tactical is saying, like military training scars are hard to shake, and it is, especially from like the Udari range in Kuwait. But
it's not even just like the marksmanship stuff. Like the amount of EMT or trauma training that has changed, the things they learn that were brought back from the global war on terror, and how that training and stuff has changed into what is vital. That golden hour type things to make sure to keep people alive or to sustain that life. It's stuff worth training and worth looking into. And again, you can, like I said, you can find, yes, not everything you're going to read on the internet, not everything you're going to see on YouTube is
quality,
good, but if somebody's wrong, especially on the internet, you can't hide behind ignorance. Like, they're going to call you out. We get called out on stuff all the time in comments, and a lot of it's justified. Some of it, I think some people are just jealous that they don't have a cool podcast, but you're going to be able to see the thumbs up, thumbs down, and read a few comments and know whether or not what you just saw or read is legitimate.
Yeah, and this isn't us making a case for, hey, you should listen to us, because I know at some point people are actually getting like a little bit of training from us just because we're talking about things.
You people need to evaluate yourselves.
And like we're actually having the discussion and being like, hey, you can look at this stuff. So there's people who, like, yeah, they were pretty solid instructors and they did a lot of good stuff. But the thing that I'm coming down to is YouTube instruction and like reading stuff on forums and getting drill ideas. Like I have the drill index cards, and yep. I have some from RE Factor Tactical as well. Cards for different targets, and they're awesome. Like I love them. When we go out, we'll pull a card and be like, all right, hey, this is what we're gonna do, because like we don't have to come up with like, okay, yep, this is our plan. What we're gonna do is we're just gonna run these drills that we have off this card, because we have a multitude of things to run. But again, that's straight up. That's something I found on the internet. But without doing that, and I am going to say this, like one tip or trick for people. If you are like, if you're going, all right, I have to figure this out, and you're like us and live in the middle of nowhere and don't have any instructors anywhere close to you, video yourself. And then after you video yourself, go back and watch a video of someone who knows what they're doing, because then you can look at and kind of critique your own movements. Because the best part about having training is having someone come up and be like, hey man, like what you're doing looks really good. Why don't you point your foot, like point the toes of your foot this direction? And like, this is going to change how you stand. And that's like, I've done that to people, and I've had it done to me, and it really does change like a lot of stuff.
I think that was one of the cool things about that class we were at in, the MMTC class, was there was 8 to 12 instructors on the range with us any given day. And each one of them has their own little like pet thing, not on purpose, not by design, but it's the one thing they've focused on themselves. So they can, so one of them would come by and be like, hey, yeah, you're doing this great. You're doing this. And then, they'd be talking about your shoulders or your like head up. And then the next guy would come by and they talk about your feet or how your hips are placed and stuff. And that's the cool thing about, if you can take multiple classes from different instructors, is they're going to point out different things. They're going to notice different things. In, like you were saying, Dooley, it's hard to, the most you can do if you don't have that, like, yeah, you can record yourself. I mean, record yourself, put dummy rounds in your mags, mix them up. I mean, you can still load your own mags with dummy rounds if you load 5 mags and have, at different times and don't know which one's there, and watch yourself. Like, I don't think
watch for that major flinch.
I don't think I flinch when I'm shooting, but it's when you don't have that bang is when you notice it, and it's like, whoa. Like, the best thing that can happen to you in training is a no bang, and you're like, whoa, holy balls.
Yeah, it's that's one of those things where it's just like, those are just a little like tip and trick from us. Like, hey, you can do this and it'll work out a lot better.
And we're by no means experts. We just claim to be average dudes that like to shoot, and if somebody wants to take a little bit of talking to us and advice from us, but we'll do the same thing, is talk to somebody and, but listen to their rebuttal and work. You can be trying to correct somebody and find out something you're doing wrong or something new just in that. And it's like, I know you've noticed it. I have somewhat noticed it as I've gone through the stages in my military career of becoming more of a leader and a trainer. But go try to teach your wife how to shoot, or your child, and it will put a spotlight on your flaws, because you have to fix that. My little brother was I think purple belt in jiu-jitsu before he was hurt, and he said the best thing he ever did was actually start teaching intro classes, because he had to slow everything down to step by step in order to instruct it correctly, which he's like, I didn't realize I was skipping certain things or doing this or doing that.
Dr. Scary Guy in the chat says, never teach your wife how to shoot.
There's actually a song about, my wife played it on the way home. The guy's like, I wouldn't have taught you to shoot if I thought you were going to, do you think I would have taught you to shoot if I was going to, if you know you were going to need to do it, use it on me or something? Yeah, it's a good one.
No, I've done that because I've said it 100 times. Like, oh yeah, I've done this. I've trained thousands of students. I've got all these different certifications. I am by all means what some people consider an expert. My wife looks at me and goes, "You're still the idiot that can't remember to take or to switch the laundry. So how can you possibly know how to do this finite movement?" Yeah. I'm like, well, that's because I care about this.
Because I have a 13-year-old that can swap the laundry.
But no, that's very much so a thing. And other things that are things as we keep going through, that's being able to teach someone, because like I straight up am just like, no, I'm just going to pay someone else to teach my wife, because that's just the way it has to be.
They're going to react different to how your students would react, or somebody that isn't going to try to smother you in your sleep.
Yeah, it's hard. I'm kind of smother proof, but
pretty sure she can pour stuff in that CPAP and you wouldn't wake up.
That's a problem. Dr. Scary Guy says, are you bugging my house? We just had a laundry argument this morning.
I think if you're married, that's like a weekly. You get a laundry argument all the time.
It has to be. And if it does, like, we should just start giving you gold stars. But we don't have gold stars. But what we do have is stickers. And if you're in need of awesome stickers, you can check out Sticker Phantom. You can get all kinds of stickers, like our Based Blue stickers that were the most popular sticker at GunCon, our Steamboat Willie, and so much more. You can't buy our stickers there, but he can make some just for you. And they produce all of our stickers, and you can get yours made for 10% off with code ARPodcast.
No, back to where we started this. There's a lot of good information, especially go back to what I said to start with. I think everybody should at least shoot a match just for fun. You're gonna get bit. The bug's gonna bite you, and you're gonna want to do more. Then you're gonna find yourself on the YouTube trying to figure out, how do I shoot faster? What gun is best for this class? Who is what are they doing? How are they doing it? You're going to look at belts and you're going to see a million different mag carriers, and you're not going to know which one to get. Everything comes down to your personal preference, your training style, your training.
I have a theory on this. I say get G-code Scorpions, because they work with pretty much all mags, from 1911 mags to staccato mags. So it doesn't matter what you go. It's like, I love those. But then you should get your holster from Klecker and run with that. But like, I have, because I know I did that too. Like, all right, I'm finally going to buy a decent setup. And
you had no idea what to get.
Yeah. Oh, I researched the hell out of it. And then I think I wound up where, after I figured it all out, I've got 5 set up, like 5 belts worth of crap in
good.
In like my totes stuff. But like, that's kind of like my holster totes that we don't talk about.
Well, you're gonna get into it. You're gonna be like, all right, what holster I need, and you're gonna see like 2 or 3, 4 brands that are always gonna come up, and you're gonna look at them and be like, what in the hell's the difference? Really, there's not. It's a holster. Maybe quality, maybe price.
You're gonna tickle my tism, and for the second time today, you're gonna hear me scream about Safariland. And the FBI can't. And how fucking stupid it is.
But is the Safariland the reason that we have SIGs going off, or is it because of SIG?
I don't have the answer to that.
That's been a fun week. That's been a fun one this week.
Yeah, I know that earlier Clucker said he'd make a pistol or a holster for anything except for a 320 now. And good thing we already got ours.
I don't have it, man. I'm still at a loss on all of it. It's obvious something's going on. There is no way they're just it's crazy. They're like we were talking on the ride earlier, like how soon before Gunbroker and Tax Swap and all them are flooded with 320s and M17, M18 clones that are dirt cheap, but who's gonna buy them at this point?
Will, because Flux Raider.
I was just gonna build a whole bunch of Flux Raiders. I mean,
no, it is. It's been a hell of a week, and I would not want to be SIG's marketing people.
Hey, remember it ended like in April.
It did.
Yeah, that went over like a fart in church.
I mean,
I think they cursed themselves with that, because they were getting it was kind of like being forgot about. And then they made that stupid Facebook or that Instagram or whatever post. And then it's like the gun gods, and people are like, "You idiots! Here, we're just gonna curse you some more because
You have
it's." I
anger.
don't know if you go a week and a half anymore without somebody catching one on video.
Well, and the number of training places that have said like no more SIGs is rather astounding.
Pretty much everywhere.
Yeah, and well, AR Drew, I know that you're going to get a kick out of this because Austrian high points are almost as gay as canards, and if anyone knows what that means, that's an aviation reference. So, but I have, it's no secret that I have a handful of SIGs, and I have one that has like almost no more SIG parts than the original carrier. I mean, I've changed everything else out inside of it, and it runs good. And like that's the one I've shot for years. I love that gun, and like yeah, it's got an Apex. Apex doesn't even make the trigger kit for it anymore.
I think the problem comes down to, I mean, you pay attention. How often does Ford or Dodge or Chevy or Toyota have a recall on a vehicle because the brakes are bad or this or that? It's just that when guns are going off by themselves, it's a legit. It's a more of a concern because they kill a lot
Well,
easier.
look how well it worked for Remington.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's what it comes down to. That and the fact that, and it's been beat in a million podcasts and a million YouTube videos, but SIG just didn't own it right away. And they could have said, here's the problem. Let's send them up, bring all the pistols back. We'll fix them. But they acted like nothing was wrong and have dug the hole that at this point, if they say nothing was wrong, it becomes, if they now say, yes, something was wrong, and they left all those firearms out in the public, it's a class action lawsuit just waiting to happen. In my opinion, I don't know. I'm not a lawyer.
I'm not a lawyer. Nothing I say should be construed as legal advice.
This is all an entertainment show. Do not take any of this seriously. No, it's that was a big one this week with that airman, and we had talked about it offline more than once. Like, why, if it was such a problem, why weren't we seeing so much of it in the military ranks? And
bam,
there
they are.
Yeah, and I might be wrong, but is this the first accidental SIG fire that actually killed somebody? Like, most of them have just been leg shots.
Yeah, and like I know I've made the comment about Glock leg before and things of that nature, but because that is also a thing. But
yeah,
that was more from holsters and things of that nature. And for anybody who wasn't around in the early 90s, that was a thing that happened.
A lot of these people. It's crazy.
Oh no, I have spoken with most of our chat before, and they are of around our age. And no, but before we go forward, Joe, you got anything else to add? I think that covering some of the internet training stuff tonight was kind of important because I do think it's good. I think internet training and videos do have a place, and
all training is good training. And there's a plethora of knowledge out there that you have to work through. And it's no different than doing your research on an instructor. Hey, if your local ranger or a range an hour from you's got somebody coming to do a class, doesn't mean they're any good. It might be us, but it's you still have to do that research and check it out. But Ben Stager will tell you, 90% of 90% of your practice should be dry fire with a little bit of follow up on the range to, you know, verify that you're doing everything correctly. And yeah, you can go buy a cert pistol or the VR stuff. It's a couple boxes of ammo for, same price as a couple boxes of ammo, and then all of a sudden you've got 10,000 rounds through it in a month, and you're like, oh my goodness. It's yeah. Because that's the hard part about training is paying for the ammo. I mean, it's our lifestyle, whether it's shooting competition or just shooting for fun or anything like that. The ammo gets expensive.
Yeah. So like, I have a cert pistol laying on the floor here. I have a Cool Fire trainer for a Sig 365 XL. I have the Ace VR. I have used all of them extensively.
That was a big topic in my squad, was the Ace VR. And apparently they're coming out with a rifle by the end of the year, maybe?
Oh, man, I hope
because they were talking about the PCC not being out for like 6 months. And it's like, well, if it's a PCC, it doesn't matter. That's a carbine. It's going to function just like my 9, my 223, my 300 Blackout. It's going to be all the same stuff. I'm like, ooh, if that comes, oh, so much fun. But yeah, and that's like where you can train in your basement, especially where we live, where it's 30 degrees below zero for a month this winter, and throw a hoodie on, go in the basement, and shoot some stuff. And I think my wife gets mad. I have targets all over my basement for dry fire.
Yep. I know that. Yeah, apparently they are looking at doing a Ace VR rifle.
Yeah. Like I said, and it's like I've seen people complain about like the Mantis system and stuff like that. They're like, it's so expensive, and it's like, it's a case of ammo. You pull the trigger 1,000 times on that thing, which is a week of good training, and it's paid for. Something to think about.
Oh man, like I just know how much I've ran. Okay, so sub-average, the mean arm PMEGs or sub-average Savage says, what are your opinions on the mean arms PMEGs for 9mm? So I used to call them the endo mag, just because I don't know why that's what I've always called them. And that's because Mean Arms calls them the Endomag 9mm. And the first time I used them on a like large scale or anything big, I like them better than Glock mags, but that's just because I dislike Glock mags. I have shot a machine gun running them that they dropped a 9mm upper on, and we're using those instead of a conversion. And I have never seen an issue with them. I know that kind of the biggest problem is they have a plastic ejector. Excuse me, if memory serves. And that is the part that can break. And it runs into issues with running ejectors versus not, because there's a couple guns that make you run your own ejector on the mag, and having the plastic one, it kind of has issues because it'll come back to knock it off, and then it's like, oh well, it wears out over time. But I have seen them run really well, and I don't really have an issue with it. 9mm has the same case head as 223, so the geometry of everything works. It's just changing that follower out to make the shorter round work in it. It does allow you to use your rifle pouches for PCC, and if that's what you want to do, man, get down with your bad self.
It comes down to a lot more similar manual of arms instead of trying to take that skinny Glock mag or that skinny Scorpion mag into that smaller spot. It's the exact same feel and movement. So I'm pretty sure there's a few people at PCC Nationals last year, probably maybe even the world, that were running them, that were running those rather than like Glock mags. And if you can't, my only thing would be like, not that hard to get a mag or to get a dedicated AR-9 lower. But if you only want one lower and you're going to be swapping uppers on it, go for it.
Yeah. Drop the mag and drop the extractor. Yeah, the failure to like that lies into some of the problems with it, but I've seen them also work incredibly well. So I'm not going to be like, they're crap. But I will say, like, no, there's probably things that could be better about them. There's also things that are probably worse.
They're around. They haven't died off, so obviously they work to a point.
Oh no, and it's like I said, I've run them on a machine gun. So, anything else to add tonight, Joe?
No, just check out our website. Check us out on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, all those places. Check out the other 2A guys. Check out our buddies Klecker and Gideon and all them on the socials. Give them a like, give them a share. Spread the word, spread the 2A word, and we'll keep doing what we're doing.
And make sure to go check out Patriot Patch, patriotpatch.co. Whether in your need of pop culture patches, just standard patches, join the Patch of the Month Club and get all kinds of new stuff. I don't have any of our new patches around here. I just have this old subdued Patriot Patch Company patch that rides on my mic. And, they're solid. They're fun because it's, you have to be able to have a little fun.
This is reliable.
Yep. So, guys, go out there, do that, have fun with it, get down with your bad self, and check those out. And everyone knows what I'm about to say because it's after we say check out Patriot Patch Company. Guys, remember, go out, get training. Get medical training and expect to self-rescue because you will probably be your own first responder. So, you folks out there, stay safe and stay armed.
Thanks for listening to the AR-15 podcast. Check us out on all our social media. AR-15 podcast on Facebook, YouTube, and Rumble. AR-15 podcast 2.0 on Instagram. If you want to send us a question, rant, or suggestion, email us at AR-15podcast2.0@gmail.com. That's the number 2, period, the number 0. If you want to be part of the daily conversation, you can find us at Discord, AR-15 Podcast. Don't forget to check out dangfree.net. Sign up is simple and free, and you can communicate with us, other podcasters, and you, the listeners. Lastly, check out all our sponsors, Patriot Patch Company, VZ Grips, Blacker Tactical, and Sticker Family.